Hello, this is Skyla, and I'm here to show you how to make tattoos for your character. You can use this for pretty much any game, Fallout 4, Skyrim, Skyrim SE, or any game that requires a body model and textures. And it's a lot more complicated than you may think of just slapping an image on in Photoshop, because it could look like this, or it could look like this. And this is how I'm going to show you how I do it to make the image look pristine and exactly how you want it. I've done this process for the past year for some of my followers like Monaco and Venice. And to show you this, I'm going to be using either GIMP or Photoshop. I'm going to show you how to do it in either. And we'll be using a program called Mudbox. Mudbox is a 3D painting program where you can paint on 3D models, which makes it really easy to create the tattoos or images however you want. And the other thing you need is Skyrim, of course, or Fallout 4, or whichever game you're modding this for. And you're going to need NifSkope. This is for Skyrim and Fallout only. I'm going to be showing you how to use it through Skyrim. Fallout 4 may be a little different in converting files. If you have any questions on that, just message me directly and I'll help you. So the first thing you're going to do, you're going to find yourself your textures you want to put the tattoo on. Of course, a little self-promotion. I'm using mine, Sky Female Textures. I'm using CBBE, but you can use whichever. You can use 7-base, UNP, whichever, doesn't matter. Just whichever body you want it to go on. And you're going to want to think about this because when you're choosing which body, it's a little hard to convert the textures between CBBE and UNP, but it's not as hard as you may think if you want to switch back and forth. So I'm going to start with CBBE. So I'm going to download it manually, and then you got to choose your body. You got to get the 3D models for it. So I'm using Calientes, and you're going to download manually as well. And once that's done downloading, you're going to extract them to the desktop. I'll show you that in just a sec. So just pulling that over and extracting. And for CBBE, there's many body types, so I'm just going with the curvy, regular. You're going to go under Meshes, Actors, Character, and you're going to choose number 1. Actually, 0, sorry. Because if you start with number 1, it's the larger body, and it will shrink the tattoo. So if you start it as 1 and it expands it a little, it'll still look perfect. Versus shrinking it, it'll get a little distorted. So once you have your textures exported onto your desktop, you're going to go through here and keep going until you find female. And there's going to be many textures here you see. The only ones you actually want to edit for putting a tattoo on would be female body _1, female hands _1, and female head. So we're just going to do a body tattoo, but if you can do hands tattoos, you can do head tattoos, face paints. Options are endless. So we're just going to start with the body. We're going to extract that to the desktop, close out, and for GIMP, if you're going to be using that, you need the DDS plugin. I will include that all in the description below, and there's many tutorials on how to install that and take care of that. I'm not going to be putting that in this tutorial. The next thing you're going to need is Mudbox. Mudbox is offered free for educational use, and I'm a student, and say you're watching this video and you want Mudbox. First, we're going to get the educational version. It's very easy. All you have to do is just say you're in college, whichever college is nearby, even if you're not in college. And then just make sure you say that you're currently attending. The dates are check out for that. And that's all you need to do is just sign up, and then you can download it. Very easy process for that. I'll include everything down in the description as well. Once it's installed, you can use the 2006, whichever version. I'm using that one. There's a new 2007, but it's basically the same thing. So next step, we're going to go to NifSkope, and that's when this Nif comes in handy. So we're going to launch NifSkope, and we're going to load the Nif. We're going to find it on our desktop, open, and file, export. We're going to export it as a .obj. Okay. Just blanking a little. Okay, you're going to drop down the little menu of the nodes, and you're going to choose the first one nitri shape, base shape 2, or for whichever body type you're using. It will be the first one. It will be called base shape. And you're going to click on that, and you're going to file, export .obj. Click OK. And we're going to put on the desktop, just name it whatever you'd like, body. And it should be on my desktop. Yes, okay, right here. And we're done with NifSkope. That's all you had to do for that. We are going to now find our tattoo or whichever image we'd like to put onto our body. So one thing you need to watch out about this is using copyrighted image or other people's work that you put on there. You want to make sure that you are using a freelance or royalty-free image. So we're going to look for a royalty-free image. And I'm just going to use a simple image. I'm going to show a few examples on how to put, or examples of tattoos that you can put onto your character. Like you can put sleeves, you can put actual images such as a beautiful scene. It's endless possibilities. So I'm just going to scroll through here and see something. I'm going to go with this one because it's pretty easy. And you can do anything more like this, or just like a simple tattoo. I'm going to download this and okay. Christine Coast. Okay, got the first one, and I'm going to show another example of, let me see. There's a few differences between putting color and then black and white. So say if we want to put a color image on, it's a little different. So I'm going to show all the possible options so you can make as many different things as you want. The options are endless. You can put textures, you can texturize. I'll show you once we get into Mudbox. Say I want to put this image as a tattoo onto our girl character, whichever. So I'm going to put this one as well. Okay, and I'd like to get some type of image where I could show you how to wrap it around arms for like a sleeve. So let's see. See how like it's not a, you have to wrap it in Mudbox, and it's a little different on how to do it. So we're gonna just do like a simple flower or vine or something like that to show just the easy concept of just, I'm going on a little too much right now. I'll probably cut out some of this. Okay, we'll go with this because you'll get the concept when I show you how this is done. And if possible, the best images you can choose will have this checkered background, which means there is no background or white space in the way of putting the image on. But even if you can't find it, it doesn't matter. Eventually, it's just easier for this to not be there. So say you find an image that, let's see if I can actually find one that has no background. Okay, no. Okay, like this one. See, it doesn't have the checkered background. So I'll show you how to get rid of it really quickly. I'll show you in Photoshop, and then GIMP it should be fairly same process. I'm just going to open Photoshop and then open that photo. I'm going to take selection tool, magic wand, delete, select delete, select delete, select delete, etc. File save it as a PNG. And okay, saved. And this is where we will go in and open up Mudbox and then put the tattoos on our girl, put it into Photoshop or GIMP, and then get him into the game. And so Mudbox. Let's get rid of this and this. Okay, we're gonna open the file. Desktop, body, and there it is. To move around, you're going to click Alt on your keyboard, and then it will be the left mouse button, and you'll use that to just drag around and position yourself to see where you want the tattoo. And just to zoom in, you use your little scroll on your mouse, going right into the booty there. And if you want to move the camera, you will press Alt, and then you will press down on your scroll button. So I want to put, let's see, the flower. Actually, we got a few images we're gonna put them all over her body, so you can just see how you adapt each one. So we're gonna add it as a stamp. Add stamp. I don't remember exactly which one's which. So this is the bull. I'm gonna click OK. Okay. There is the bull right there. Okay, once you're in the spot where you want to have your stencil, whichever, make sure you don't have mirror unless you actually want to mirror your image on the other side. I always keep it off because then you'll have duplicates, etc. But if you want duplicates, you just find whichever axis you want it to duplicate on. So we're gonna go to stamp. We're going, actually stencil. We're gonna add our stencil of the flower. There's the flower. And see, you can move or rotate the stencil by seeing these little controls on the panel. You can move it wherever you want. I'm going to actually wrap this around her arm so you can see kind of the process on how to do that. You just have to, it's kind of trial and error to get the right angle for how do you want each thing. Okay, say I want the image right here, and if you want projection, that is, will copy the image exact, color, everything. But if you choose paintbrush, it will use it as a color. Like say I have it as black, it will set the whole thing as dark black, or whichever color you choose. We're going to choose projection so then we can see it how it's supposed to be. And I'm going to turn down the size of my paintbrush. Not that small. This is where I got, and I'm going to end up redoing it because how I ended up doing it was not how I should have. So I'm going to put it on the other side, and I'm going to show you how to do it. Say you want just your tattoo of your arm right here. Projection for all the colors and exactly how you want it to look. Paintbrush is for black and white or whichever color you choose right here. Projection will make it look like exactly how it should. right on the arm, right there. See how it gets a little distorted right here because the skin has stretched? I'll show you how to fix that real quick. We're going to turn the stencil off, which you just press the off button. Paint erase. We're going to get up a little close and we're going to turn our size down to about that. Going to erase just the distortion. Turn it so you can, where the distortion was, so you can make sure it doesn't happen again. Pop up our stencil. And we're going to do projection again on top of this. Might have to adjust your brush just a little so you make sure you don't have to keep erasing things. Okay, perfect. Turn the stencil off. I'm going to go in and erase this little piece right here. Drop it down even smaller. Even smaller. Okay, fair enough. So we got that all done. The tattoo is right there. So, next tattoo we're going to do is the nebula, which I took a picture of. We're going to put that right on her back. Actually, we'll do it on the back. So we're going to bring it up in stencil, add stencil, and there it is right here. And this image, it can be used as a texture, which would actually be pretty cool. But we're going to try and use it as a tattoo, which will actually turn out pretty interesting. I'm going to make it black and white because in projection it will have edges and I don't really want to deal with edges. But in paintbrush you can add layers of color and color. But we're just going to do black and white so you can see how it actually could look. Actually, let me make sure each time you add a new tattoo, you add a new layer, which you just right click, new layer, okay. And strength 100%. Bump that up a little. See how interesting it looks, almost like a flower pattern? Because it'll take the light of the picture and it'll use that as a texture. Interesting, isn't it? Okay. Since it didn't turn out exactly how I hoped for, so we're going to use some of this. We're going to turn down the strength just a little, keep the size the same, and bring that beautiful color in. Okay. I turn it off. And there's an edge right here. So I turn the strength down just a bit so we make sure that we don't get rid of everything and there's no harsh edges. Start over here and just slowly bring it in to erase that edge. There we go. Okay. And last but not least, we have the bull tattoo. We're going to put that right on her stomach. Let me just move that around. Okay, here we go. And let me add it. And oh, we're going to use projection for this one because if you use paintbrush, it only views the light parts of the picture. See how it only sees the hoof? But in projection, it will see everything. I'm going to move the body a little, so just in case, like, I don't want it to distort too much. There we go. and turn strength up to 100 and size to about 5. That's what I usually do. Okay, and there is that tattoo. Perfect. This is really just the basics. There's honestly thousands of possibilities that you can do. You can import a head, you can add face paints, you can add all these different reptile skins, you can use textures that they already give here. I can show you a few things in here. Let's see. There's stamps they offer, but those use as paintbrushes. I try to stay away from stamps. I'm more all stencils. Love the stencils. And see, here is like fur. You can use it as a projection. You can use it as a tool. Let's see. Let's use it as a paintbrush. See how it picks up on the light of it? And let's see how it looks. Ooh. I actually have a stamp chosen. That's why I don't like them, because they change your paintbrush. See how it shows it as fur almost? And see, you can just like keep moving the stencil and overlapping it and cover the whole body in whichever like texture you want. Of course, I did that really messily, but you kind of get the point. And let's try a different one. We got grass. I'm not going to do grass. Let's see. Reptile skin. Let's do that one. And you could just paint it on. Just move it down and overlap them. Of course, take a little bit of time to make sure they overlap correctly than me rushing through, but it's just so you get the idea. Say if you want to change your paintbrush color to whatever this is and you want to color it as a different color, it will change it. And say if you want to overlap it and make all these different skin colors and textures that you could put right onto your character to make them whoever you want them to be. Imagine you got an orcish character who's part dragon with dragon skin, and they're only half of their body's dragon skin, and then or oak flesh, or like Game of Thrones, you want to have your character have the stone flesh on their side of your face. You can import the head and then make it that texture right onto their face and import them, and you can role play hundreds of ideas. And just, I'm going on and on, but you get the idea, hopefully. And there's a lot of textures already included in here. Say your character got splattered with blood and all over their body, and you just want to put some of that on wherever. Just find a color, dark, deep red, and they got shot, or, well, not shot in Skyrim, but Fallout, say they got shot, and, or whatever, if you roleplay that way, you could just change it up. There's hundreds of textures you can download online, and if you do, just make sure you get them from a credible source, free, royalty-free, etc. These are all the ones that are included in here. This one I played around with. It's a very interesting, you could almost make like a character whom is celestial. And, well, let's not do it in red. Let's do it in, I did it in, started it with black, and then I took it on top of this. I took white, and I flipped the stencil. So if I can actually flip it and move it. And I took it in like this color, teal. Took the strength down a little. And, well, not this strong. I guess really light. And put it on top. And it makes this really interesting looking look on it, on the character's body. Like I said, almost celestial. But you can, like I said, options are endless. You can paint anything you want onto the body, hands, feet, etc. Well, the feet aren't here, but you'd have to import them as a 3D model as well as the head. And let's see what few other things we can just test around with real quick. If you want to skip through this, you can. There's many Mudbox tutorials on texturing, but I'm just showing you just really simply of some of the possibilities you can do without watching hours of stuff. So let's just get rid of the air. Okay, and let's see how projection actually looks on this. Let's turn the strength down and say if you want to make like a cyborg character and you want them to have steel skin or skin of diamonds like that one X-Men character. And yeah, I love Mudbox. I've used it for a long time now, and I've created many unreleased works. I will show a few of them at the end. But okay, say you're finished. Say you got this, whatever I got going on here, and I'm going to show you how to do it in Photoshop first, and then how you do it in GIMP afterwards. So everything is in a different layer right here. So what you're going to do is you're going to right click and you're going to go all the way down to export channel to PSD. That will pull all the layers and you can put them into Photoshop or GIMP. So you can name it whatever you'd like, tattoo, and it will load, and then it will say, oh, it's opened in Photoshop. But I have Photoshop, you have GIMP, you have to open it manually, which I'll show you after this. So if you're using GIMP, just skip past this. Okay, once you're in Photoshop, you're gonna go to your desktop and you're gonna open and bring that file femalebody_.dds into this. You're going to stretch it to however, Alt-Shift for it to not take any distortion shape. If, like, say if you move it like this, it distorts. Check. And turn this one off because we don't need that. Let's move this layer on top. Move this layer on top of that, and same with this one. Say, like for this flower, I really want to get rid of it. So easy, just erase it here in Photoshop. Well, turn that up. Okay, just don't worry about that. That shouldn't happen. Something's going on with my Photoshop. It does that occasionally. So you got it, you're done, you want it to go into the game. You're going to go to File, Save As. You're going to go to .dds and make sure you have the .dds plugin from NVIDIA. It's very easy to install. I'll include the description in below. Make sure you have Alpha Channels on, and you're going to go to Desktop, click on femalebody_.dds so it gets the same name. Click Save. Yes. And for this, it is going to be DXT5 ARGB8 BBP interpoled alpha. And you're going to go to normal map settings and make sure it's 9:9 average RGB, and alpha field is under height, and none of this is clicked on. You're going to click save. Takes maybe a minute or so. Once that is done, you're going to let's move down all this, and you will see the femalebody.dds right here. And we're going to show you how to do it in GIMP right now. And if you don't want to do in GIMP, just skip right past it, and I'll show you how to use either method to put it into. Okay, you're going to open up GIMP. And you're going to open the file that you created from Mudbox, and that will be in whichever folder you saved it in. I did not actually save it to my desktop, which I'm going to do right now. Makes it a lot easier. Okay, I'm going to open the file that I just saved to my desktop, the tattoo.psd. open that up, and we're going to delete a few layers or just hide them. We're going to hide this one, Mudbox diffuse, and we're going to hide the Mudbox base. So you just have this in the checkered background. With the checkered background, we are going to add in the female body.dds. Okay, we're going to open up our desktop in a separate file, then we're going to drag and drop female body._.dds, and then we're just going to size it to fit, and then move all the paint layers on top of the body. Choose the scaling tool to scale it to the correct size, which should be, let's see what it actually is. Okay, scale. Okay, you're gonna move this layer all the way to the bottom. Okay. Okay, after it's moved all the way down, we want to make sure we delete Mudbox base and Mudbox diffuse. So you're going to go to layer, delete layer, same for this one, layer, delete layer, and then make sure they're all linked by just clicking this link button next to each layer. Okay, once they're all linked, we're going to actually export it as a PNG, so export as, change that, export, replace, export. Okay, once it's done, we're going to go File, Open. We're going to open that PNG. We're going to File, Export as .dds. Make sure the extension's correct up there. Export, replace if you need to, and it's going to be a BC3/BXT5. Once that is done, close everything down, and you have the file, and it's that one. That one's a PNG. Okay. Even after you're done with Photoshop, even after you're done with GIMP, you're going to take this DDS and you're going to put it in your Skyrim or Fallout or whichever folder has your texture files for the body. I'm going to show you for Skyrim. I have to do some digging if it's another game. So I have a lot of mods, so just bear with me. I'm going to go to this right here, Steam Apps Common, Skyrim, Data, Textures. And then you're going to go to Actors, Character, Female. And this is the folder right here where we will drag and drop this new tattoo file. Just drag and drop it in, replace, and that is done. It will be on your character in game. We're going to check and see how it looks in game, even though it's a hodgepodge of tattoos. Okay, I'm in game and I'm looking at my character and you can see the tattoos are there. All just the hodgepodge I made. And the one thing about this is that whichever texture file that you made for your character, it will show on the normal races. It will show on orc, it will show on elves. But if you say you made it for a Ningheim or a Temptress, you just put it in that directory and you'll see it for that. Same goes if you use it for a follower. You will just put it in your follower's texture file, and I made or texture directory, and I made another tutorial about how you make a standalone follower. And from that, you can use that texture organization to know where exactly you need to go for the body textures and how to replace them. And that's all this for this, and I'm going to show you a few examples of unreleased works that I did, and I'll explain kind of how I did them, and so you can kind of just think outside the box and maybe think about what you want to make for your character. Okay, here I'm going to show you a couple of works that I have unreleased that I made, and kind of how I did it and what was my thought process. For this one, I wanted to make a girl that was made out of glass, and I took a glass texture and I put it in Mudbox and I just put it all over her body, and I imported her head model and then hands as well to include on the texture. And it's, as you can see, it's kind of just, I think it's just beautiful looking. And then in Photoshop I took it and I made it screened, so it took away all the darkness, and then after that it made the skin come through, so you can just, she was made out of glass, but the darkness of the past picture was gone, and it still created a beautiful image of just a beautiful looking character. And someone's dog's barking. I don't know if you can hear it, but it's annoying me. Okay, the next thing, I just made some tattoos. These were nightingale, not nightingale, they're like runes, and I put them on in Mudbox, and I screened them on, and I put them in like a collagic way, and then I popped those files I exported from Mudbox and then just edited them a little in Photoshop to make it look like, right here, see how like it's shadowy on the outside, almost like they were just carved into her skin. And that you just have to look up Photoshop or GIMP tutorials on how to just edit images to look a certain way you want. That I'm not going to teach. And this one, I wanted a character who was heavily scarred, and this came from a weird way. I wanted a character to be made out of marble, like Greece, like a Greek statue, and I took the marble texture that I found, and I put it all over her body, and then I popped into Photoshop, and I played around with it a little, and I ended up turning from marble to this beautiful scarring texture that it's just magnificent to look at and see how it looks. It looks just like a scar. And I also did it on her hands as well, and it came out really nice looking for what I wanted. And that's just a few things that I thought of. You could just play around, have fun, enjoy it, think of a character, and then go from there. And if you ever have any questions on where you maybe want to go with your character, send me a message. I can point you in the right way, or help you figure out how you want to achieve that character. Because that's one of my favorite things about video games and modding, is that you can create whatever you want easily. Your imagination doesn't have to hold you back. You can think of anything you want. You can have them however you'd like them to look. Its possibilities are endless. And I ended on that note, and I know I haven't posted in a long time. I've had a lot of personal things going on, and I hope to just post more as possible whenever I can, in tutorials and stuff. That's my favorite things to do, to teach people and expand their knowledge with stuff I know about Skyrim. And most of what applies to Skyrim applies to Fallout as well. And other than that, subscribe, please, and comment if you have any problems. I will try to do my best to help. And it's pretty straightforward from that. And thanks for watching, guys.